Hello everyone, Gecko here. I've got something amazing to show you today. Cranes! Whoa! They're brilliant at taking things way up high into the sky. If you've ever seen a tall building being built, then you might have seen a crane. They're not very good at hiding. They can almost reach the clouds. And they're able to lift heavy objects onto the tops of buildings. Cranes are so cool! This is a 250-ton mobile crane. It's massive! And do you see the long arm that's sticking up into the air? Well, that's called the boom. There's lots of different types of cranes, but let's see what makes this one special. Whoa! This yellow crane's got loads of wheels. Maybe as many as Larry the lorry. This means it can drive down the road to all sorts of construction sites. They're places where buildings are built. But I wonder, how does it go under bridges with that really tall boom on top? That's it, Blue. You fold it away. This is Ian, and he's the operator of this crane. The crane can move up and down, left and right, and it's all controlled from something called a cab. That's where Ian sits. He can use both of these joysticks to control the boom and the hook it has on the end. That looks like a fun job. Can you see what he's doing? By pulling the joystick in his left hand backwards, the boom is shrinking. Wowzers! The boom's made up of 7 separate pieces, which all fit neatly inside each other. A bit like a Russian doll. Look at that! The boom is all packed up. These are called the outriggers. Just like stabilizers on your bike, they stop the crane from falling over when the boom is up. To get the crane ready for driving, we need to fold the outriggers away. Ian uses this control panel to fold them up, making them disappear inside the side of the truck. Bye-bye, outriggers. The outriggers were sitting on special mats, which stop the super heavy crane from cracking the floor underneath. Ian neatly packs them away at the back of the truck. Wow, that's brilliant! Now Ian can jump in the front cab and press one final button to balance the truck, ready for driving. Can you see it wobble? Look, it's rising up. And now it's ready to drive. Off we go! Ian's had the call, and we're now on our way to a construction site to help the builders.
Lift it high, lift it high, say lift it high, lift it high, lift it high, lift it high, high, high in the sky, lift it high, high, high in the sky, lift it high, lift it high, lift it high. Down on the construction site they're building everywhere. But when the building gets too high, they all take extra care. Here to save the day is the massive yellow crane. It's time for the boom and hook to come and take the strain. Lift it high, lift it high, lift it high, high, high in the sky. Lift it high, high, high in the sky. Lift it high, lift it high, lift it high. Lift it
a dumper truck. Dumper trucks drive all around the quarry, being very helpful. They work with their friends, the excavators and the bulldozers, to carry loose rock and sand out of the quarry. A dump truck is the perfect truck for safely carrying heavy loads. These are the wheels. The tires are big and chunky so that they can grip onto most surfaces. This is the cab. And this is where the driver sits to drive the dumper. But it's the back of the dumper truck that's really special. This is called the hopper, which is where the load is stored. Come on guys, let's load it up. The excavator digs the rock into a big pile. Then the empty dumper truck comes trundling down the hill, ready to pick up this big load. The driver then reverses next to the excavator, ready to be loaded up. The hopper can hold lots, and lots, and lots, and lots of rock. This dumper can carry 35 tons. That's like carrying 5 elephants in the back. Whoa! Once filled, it's time to drive the load all the way to the top of the quarry and dump it in a big pile. The hopper has hydraulic rams underneath it, which are really strong and make the hopper tip up. The back gate opens up and the load slides out of the back. I think I feel a song coming on.
With 6 giant wheels so he won't get stuck. When driving round the quarry, he's like no other lorry. He's the big dumper truck. You won't see him on an ordinary road. He's far too big, he carries too much load. When he needs to dump it, his back lifts up to lump it. He's the big dumper truck. Dump, dump, dumper truck. Dump, dump, dumper truck. Dump, dump, dumper truck, oh yeah. The excavator is his best mate. They work all day from morning till late, loading up the rubble. The heavyweight's no trouble. He's the big dumper truck. He's made of thick metal all around, and this keeps the driver safe and sound. To get into the cabin, a ladder's there to climb in. He's the big dumper truck. Dump, dump, dumper truck. Dump, dump, dumper truck. Dump, dump, dumper truck, oh yeah. Dump, dump, dumper truck. Dump, dump, dumper truck. Dump, dump, dumper truck, oh yeah. Dump, dump, dumper truck. Dump, dump, dumper truck. Dump, dump, dumper truck, oh yeah.
It takes real teamwork to keep the quarry moving safely. The dumpers, excavators, and bulldozers all work together to move rock as quickly as possible. The bulldozer scoops up lots of sand in its huge bucket. He lifts it up and tips it neatly into the dumper truck's hopper. Sometimes it can get quite dusty in the quarry, so the team here at Tarmac also have a special truck that sprays water along the floor. This helps get rid of the dust that builds up from the construction trucks. And I'm so bonkers excited! Why? Because today I'm learning all about fire trucks at this amazing fire station. How cool is that? Fire trucks are used all over the world to to help firefighters put out fires and rescue people who are trapped in hard-to-reach places. We're going to meet 2 different fire trucks today, and we get to meet the brilliant crew members of Lim Fire Station. These amazing fire trucks and firefighters are experts at, you guessed it, putting out fires. They use these super long wiggly hoses, a bit like what we see in the garden, but super powerful. And look, they even have special masks that protect them from the heat. This is Jay, and he's the watch manager, which is what they call the leader of the team.
Firefighter Hill, door number 4. Also, I'd like to welcome Gecko, who's going to learn to be a firefighter for the day.
Thanks for having me, White Watch. Well, look who's here. Blue and Green Mechanical have come to learn about fire trucks too. Make sure you two stay out of trouble, please. This is Laura and Ellen. They're both firefighters in White Watch. What are you doing now, Laura?
Well, Gecko, we're getting ready for the start of shift. This involves getting all our kit out so that we're ready for any emergency that we might come across. So as you can see, Ellen's put her boots out ready. She's also got both the jackets, a helmet and the gloves, so she's ready for any emergency we might come across. Speed is always of the essence, so it's important that it's all laid out properly.
Everyone, meet Andy. He's the driver of the fire truck. He's making sure everything is okay for the next emergency call-out. But what is an emergency call-out? Well, that's when people ring up and tell the firefighters they need help. And remember, it's very important to check that the truck's lights are working properly. They need to flash really brightly when the truck leaves the station to let people know help is coming. I love this fire truck. Do you know why? It's because there's so many secret places to store the amazing life-saving equipment. Look, Ellen and Laura are checking the hydraulic cutting equipment. These are like a big pair of scissors, but instead of cutting through paper, they cut through metal.
Now mechanicals, you're going to have to stop messing around. This isn't a place for messing about, guys. We don't want to end up rescuing you, do we?
Once Andy and the gang have checked that the truck is okay, Laura and Ellen need to make sure their breathing apparatus works safely. This is what they use when it gets really smoky inside a building that's on fire. It's very important that they can breathe clean air. Psst. Guess what, everybody? There's actually more than one fire truck in this fire station. This one here is called the ALP, which stands for Aerial Ladder Platform. Should we all say it together? Aerial Ladder Platform. Now the team use this ALP truck when they need to rescue people from places that are just way too high for the ladder. Wowzers! It sounds like someone's in trouble.
Come on, Gecko, get your gear on. We've got a job.
That's one of those emergency calls that we talked about a minute ago. Remember? All of the important stuff we need to know about the rescue comes through on this piece of paper.
Okay, all three appliances, mechanicals stuck at height, in limp.
Oh no! It sounds like the mechanicals are in trouble. We better go and rescue them. Now that we've got our kit on, it's time to move out. Oh dear, it looks like those silly mechanicals are stuck at the top of that tower and can't get down. We'll have to use the ladder to go all the way up there and get them. Look at this amazing teamwork. The crew all work together to get this ladder up as quickly and as safely as possible. Oh dear, it looks like the ladder isn't quite high enough to reach the mechanicals. Now, what can we use instead? That's right, bring in the Alp! To make sure the Alp doesn't wobble, Andy and James use these controls to move these things called jacks out of the side of the truck. They look like metal legs, and they stick out and lift the truck off the ground. Wow! That's really heavy, but these jacks are so strong, they stop the Alp from falling over. Whoa, look at that! It's got super strength, like super mechanical. Once the Alp is stable, which means it won't wobble, Andy jumps into the operating seat. That's the one that works the machinery. James is so brave. Look, he's going up in the cage to rescue the mechanicals. Now, because he's going up very high, he clips himself on using this harness, so he can't fall off. A harness is a bit like a belt you wear around your trousers. When you fasten it, your trousers don't fall down. Okay, here goes. Up, 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 up into the sky! James is now in control of the cage, and he can move up, down, left, and right with these joysticks. Almost there. Hold on, mechanicals. We're coming to save you. Gotcha. Phew. I'm glad those mechanicals are safe. Thanks, James and Andy.
Okay, mechanicals, I hope you learnt your lesson there. We shouldn't be climbing up towers and being silly, because we've got other people to rescue, okay?
To see how these amazing vehicles tidy away our waste, whilst also looking after our planet. There's so much happening here at the recycling depot, with trucks coming and going. Just look at how the little forklift trucks zoom around, taking the rubbish out of the sides of the trucks and tipping them into their own special places. But our story begins at home. Have you ever wondered what happens to the rubbish you put in your bins? Recycling trucks have special days when they come past your house to collect all of the rubbish. Recycling is a way of separating different types of rubbish that you throw out, so that it can be used again and again. This all starts at home, so it's up to all of us to separate plastics, paper, cans, and food waste into their different bins to get them ready for collection. Here comes the truck now. It's purple. I love purple. This is Simon and Daniel, and they drive the recycling truck down the street, collecting all of this rubbish. They jump out of the truck and put the different types of rubbish in their own special place on board. Look, there's a place for everything. Cans and plastic go here. Glass goes in here. Food waste goes in here. With paper and cardboard at the back in these compartments. When the truck is full, it's time to head back to the depot to empty everything out. First, the truck drives onto some weighing scales. These are just like scales in your bathroom at home. But instead of weighing people, they weigh trucks. This tells the control centre just how much rubbish is on board the truck. Then, it's time for the zoomy little forklifts to do their whizzy work. They pull each container out from the sides of the truck and drive them to their own special place at the depot. Wow! Listen to that noisy glass. Huge bulldozers are used to push all the loose materials into a big pile. Then, to make everything smaller so that it can be easily transported for recycling, loose materials like plastic, cans and paper are squashed into bales. The final stage of recycling is called reprocessing. This is the bit where these bales are turned into something new that we can use again. The bales are taken on the back of big lorries to special factories for reprocessing. Glass can be melted down and made into new bottles. And the bales of cans can also be melted and turned into new cans, ready to be filled with new drinks. When we recycle, it means we don't have to cut down new trees to make paper. We can keep reusing the paper we already have. Recycling is amazing, but not as amazing as our beautiful planet that we all live on. That's why we have to work together to recycle and reuse our rubbish. Helicopters are used all over the world for transporting passengers, but the most important use for them is rescuing people from areas that are difficult to get to by land. I'm here at Her Majesty's Coast Guard base in North Wales to meet an amazing rescue helicopter and her crew. The helicopter behind me is used to rescue people in need from the sea or from the mountains. If someone hurts themselves on top of a mountain, it's impossible to get an ambulance up there, so the Coast Guard's called. A rescue can come any time of day or the middle of the night, and it sounds as if the crew have a rescue call coming in now. They all spring to action at once. First, they look at a map of the area to check for any dangers and work out the best route. Just look at this amazing tractor pulling the helicopter out of the hangar. Now it's time for the crew to put their special safety gear on. Everything has a purpose. This life-saving jacket will inflate so that the crew member floats in water. And it even has its own air supply, just in case they find themselves underwater and need to breathe fresh air. Then, it's out to the helicopter to fly. On board are pilot Mike, Captain Kate, John the winch operator, and Tomo the winch man. It's Tomo's job to get lowered out of the helicopter to rescue someone on the ground. After a few safety checks, it's time for takeoff. This whole process, from call to flight, takes the crew under 15 minutes. Engines start. Look at how fast those rotors can turn. The rotors chop through the air and make everything around them very windy. Whoa! I can hardly stay on my feet. Red Mechanical! Let's use your super slow motion camera to see just how many times those rotors are turning. I love using Gecko super slow-mo, mainly because it just looks cool. But look, a helicopter's rotor blades can spin 10 times per second. Oh dear, are you okay, Red Mechanical? As the rotors spin faster, the helicopter lifts off the ground and flies into the air. Captain Kate controls the helicopter by pointing the rotor blades in the direction she wants the helicopter to fly. Today the crew are practicing their winching skills, using a dummy instead of a real person. The pilots skillfully hover over the area just above where the dummy is. Tomo clips himself to the winch, and John carefully lowers him down. Tomo would then check how poorly the person on the ground is, before winching both of them back up to the helicopter safely. Nicely done, team! Back at base, the engineers are always on hand to make sure the helicopters are in the best working order and ready to fly. Safety is the most important thing, and these engineers are the best in the business. It's a real team effort keeping these amazing helicopters flying and rescuing people in need. This is Tom and Kev. Tom's a pilot and Kev is a winch operator. They're going to give us a quick tour inside the helicopter.
Welcome everyone to the S-92 Search and Rescue Helicopter. First and foremost, very importantly, we've got two large winches here. And these winches have got two strops, and the idea of this is we can lower these down to people in the water or on a mountain and pick them up and take them to safety. So let's look inside now in the aircraft itself. And as you can see as you come into this helicopter, it's a large space. Here we've got a camera which we use when we're searching for people. This can pick up people on the water, on the mountainside. So when we've picked up our patient, which we've taken off the hoist, we bring them into the aircraft itself, and we can put them onto our stretcher. And they may well be in the stretcher, but this is a lovely area for us to work on them and make them feel comfortable in the aircraft, and we can give them medical treatment if they require it. Once we get to the hospital, we need to get our patient out of the aircraft safely, and the best way we can do that is we lead them and lift them off here, down through the ramp itself, off the aircraft, into the hospital where they can be looked after.
Okay, this is the cockpit of the helicopter. There are two pilots, one sits here in this chair and the other one sits on the other side. These are the controls to fly the helicopter. This one moves the helicopter forwards and backwards, and this one moves it up and down, and then there's two pedals down on the floor as well, and that keeps the helicopter straight. We've got two engines and they're controlled on these screens, and then we've got a map in the middle to see where we're going.
Thanks very much to the amazing team here at the Coast Guard base. Bye! If you love this video, tap here so you're the first to know about my latest videos. Thanks for watching. Bye!